Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a new Intalio webinar. Today, it's all about Beyond Buzzwords. Hopefully, we're going to explore how we can leverage practical AI for process optimization across the entire enterprise. Of course, this is powered by Intalio. My name is Sharif Arfa, and I am the content team lead at Intalio. And it is an absolute honor to be the speaker of this webinar. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so regarding the agenda for today, we're going to start by Intalio's global leadership. Okay, and what we mean by this is basically the market presence of Intalio around the world, the dominance, and so on. And number two, it will be time for our second chapter, which is basically the noise versus the reality. Okay, very interesting part. And then number three, we will be tackling the global trends that are shaping AI around the world nowadays. And finally, it will be time for the practical AI part. So basically, going beyond the buzzwords, okay, beyond the fancy words, it will be time for the practical AI part, which is the most important part of this session, hopefully. Okay? Okay. Okay. So number one, Intalio's global leadership. Intalio has been in the market for more than 30 years. It was truly a very intensive journey of experience, of innovation, all inside of the world of technology. Throughout this journey, Intalio has achieved more than 1,000 successful projects around the world. Now, you would ask how? Of course, this was done thanks to the support of more than 700 dedicated professionals around the globe, with diverse nationalities, with diverse backgrounds, and so on. Intalio, of course, has lots of prestigious certifications and awards, including ISO, including Omdia. Omdia, for example, we've been named a leader in the Omdia universe. Regarding Gartner, we've been acknowledged for excellence. And finally, the Cyber Vadis, which was a very recent score. We scored 931,000 in the Cyber Vadis score. Okay, so a very intensive journey. Okay, next we're going to talk about the noise versus the reality. Regarding the noise versus the reality. Okay, AI, as we all know, is dominating headlines and boardroom discussions. Right now, there are even gyms, workout gyms, that are supported by AI. Okay, there are lots of buzzwords like automation, machine learning, predictive intelligence everywhere around us. Okay, the result of all of this is that many organizations feel the pressure. Okay, they feel the pressure to adopt AI quickly, even without a clear defined plan, a clear defined strategy. Okay, they have a fear that their competitors are rushing much towards AI and adopting it, so it's time for them to be able to survive. Okay, so this is the noise. On the other hand, if we want to talk about the reality, buzzwords themselves don't solve the problem. Okay, and this is what we're trying to tackle in this webinar. So basically, going beyond the buzzwords, beyond the fancy words. Okay, the how, the next steps. Okay, so the buzzwords, okay, they're attractive and amazing and they got the people's attention, but what's next? Where's the how part? Okay, and this is where processes come in. Okay, so if the enterprise has lots of fragmented tools that add complexity to the day-to-day operations of the employees, they're going to feel frustrated. It's going to be a burden. It's going to waste a lot of time. Okay, so the real challenge is to move from AI hype to the practical AI, and that's what we're trying, to explain in this webinar. Okay. Okay. Global trends shaping AI. Okay. Number one is the data overload challenge. Now, of course, most enterprises nowadays are flooded. They are flooded with emails, with documents, with service requests. It's too much. It's too much. Okay. So this is the data overload we're talking about. And number two is basically the rising expectation. So customers, and not only customers, actually employees too, they expect instant responses. Okay, so basically the seamless experience that everybody is talking about. A very, very fancy words. Seamless experience. Okay, they expect this of immediate response. They expect no delays. They expect no errors. There are lots of rising expectations regarding AI in the world right now. Number three is basically the compliance pressure. Okay, now of course manual processes are challenged. They are challenged with trying to keep up, with trying to keep pace with the new regulations. Okay, new regulations that force faster audits, that force complete traceability. Okay, very strict control. All of this is very hard and it's very challenging for manual based processes. And the last one is basically the AI adoption trend. Now, there are, of course, enterprises around the world that did adopt AI, but they actually experiment with it. Okay. But the problem is that it's not embedded into the core processes. So they are experimenting with it just like a pilot stage. So will this pilot stage be able to scale? That's the question. Okay. Moving on. So here we reach the gap. So where is the gap? According to what we're saying, where is the gap? The gap is basically in the hype versus the reality. So where is the hype? The hype is basically that standalone AI tools, they look impressive. Okay, as we said, buzzwords, fancy words. But are they really connected to the core business processes of the enterprise? That's the question. Okay. And question number two is, are there fragmented systems that duplicate the effort, that waste budgets, that frustrate employees? Question. So this is the gap that we're trying to address. The reality is, of course, as we know, contextual AI works best when embedded into the core processes. So this is a little bit of a complex sentence. In order to make it simpler, we need to give an example. So Intalio delivers this by bringing AI into document management, into workflows, into correspondence tracking, and so on. Okay? So the question is basically how? How is this achieved? The idea behind this webinar is basically going beyond the buzzwords, as we said, beyond the fancy words. They're very attractive, they're very nice. What's next? Okay, can this be done? The practicality of it. So the practical AI of it. Okay, what type of optimization are we talking about? So number one, we're talking about optimizing document management. Okay, so an enterprise that has lots of paper-based documents and wants to achieve digital transformation. Thanks to Intalio document, it can achieve this and transform them into electronic documents. Documents that employees can find, search for easier, can find them easier, can collaborate on them easier, and so on. It saves a lot of time. This is the digital transformation that can be achieved using Intalio document. If we want to focus on the beyond the buzzwords part, the practicality part, there are features, optimization features that complement this product. So, for example, we have smart semantic search. Smart semantic search is basically when, for example, you created a new document and you don't actually remember the name of the document. So here's where smart semantic search comes in. Okay, it understands the context of your query and helps you find the document easier. So this is feature number one in the practical features part. Number two is basically talk to doc. Okay, here it becomes more interesting. You are basically talking to the document. Let's say, for example, the document is long and you want to ask about a specific piece of information. You can do this thanks to talk to doc. And number three is basically intelligent document tagging. Okay, so one of the strongest features of any document management system is basically the metadata. Okay, so the ability to populate such type of data in an automatic behavior makes other employees able to find the document easier. They can collaborate on it easier. It saves a lot of the time. And finally, in this part is basically document summarization. Sometimes documents are quite long, the day is quite very busy. So the ability to to summarize a document thanks to the help of Intalio document, this is where it becomes really, really valuable. Okay. Number two is basically optimizing correspondence tracking. Let's say an enterprise has lots of scattered messages. Okay. So by leveraging and thanks to Intalio correspondence, it can transform this into a tracked and unified correspondence system. A system where the enterprise can basically manage all its incoming and outgoing correspondence in an optimized, organized way. Okay? If we want to talk about the beyond part, the practical part, the features that optimize the process more, we have to start by smart indexing. Now, of course, all of us know how the indexing part can be a hassle. Okay? But thanks to the smart indexing part, where using OCR, basically optical character recognition, data is easily extracted and the attributes are filled. So basically the indexing hassle becomes a piece of cake. Okay. And number two is basically a chatbot. Maybe you want to ask some questions about a specific correspondence. This is where the chatbot shows its value. And number three is basically the smart assistant. Okay, we're talking about an assistant that can help in summarization, can help in translation, it can help in maybe suggest an approval cycle, and so on. Finally, we come to one of the most important parts, and I think it's the most important part of this webinar. It's basically optimizing business processes. Okay, the most talked about section in the world right now: business processes, and business processes. Everybody's saying this. Okay, so how? Okay, so let's say an enterprise has lots of repetitive tasks. In your workflow, it's able to transform those into automated workflows. Now, this sounds a little bit fancy. Is it hard? Is it complex? Is it complicated? No, it's not. It's very simple, because basically Intalio workflow is a low-code, no-code tool. So using drag and drop features, you're able to design your workflow. And this way, you're able to automate it. Okay? So maybe let's say there was a task that consumed lots of hours throughout the day. This is where Intalio workflow can step in. You know the business scenario very well. Okay? That's why it will be the most logic scenario that you design the process yourself. And at the same time, does it require so much technical knowledge or not? This is where low code and no code steps in. Okay, so this is the idea behind Intalio workflow. Okay, now of course there are special AI features that complement this product, that make it stronger. We're talking about the practicality part. So going beyond this, how can we optimize more the business processes? So number one, we have an AI-powered chatbot. Okay, so basically a smart virtual assistant that can help you, that can respond to your questions in an instant format. This is where an AI-powered chatbot steps in. Okay, and number two, an AI-powered case summary. Okay, so most of the C-level executives nowadays, they don't have much time. They're very busy. So in order to be able to get an idea of what the entire case is talking about, you need an AI-powered case summary. And number three is basically the document-based workflow trigger. So for example, if you have a new document, thanks to the artificial intelligence in the system, it's able to launch the correct form, okay, without manual input. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, I guess this is it for today's webinar. Yeah, I hope I was able to deep dive into the beyond buzzwords part, the practical part of it, the how part, in an insightful and constructive way. Okay, we're looking forward to seeing you in our next webinars. So until then, thank you and goodbye.